The kitchen table was covered in envelopes, wedding deposit reminders, venue invoices, honeymoon fund transfers, each one neatly stacked, labeled, accounted for. Numbers always told me the truth, even when people didn't. My name's Lydia. 32. I'm an accountant. I make order out of chaos for a living. I thought that meant I'd recognize lies when they didn't add up. Matt, my fiancé, 35, works in construction. Practical. Warm. The kind of man who smelled like sawdust and coffee, who always said, "You handle the money better than I ever could." I believed him. We had a system, shared spreadsheets, joint savings, color-coded dreams. Every transfer to our honeymoon fund labeled Future Us. One night, I was reconciling expenses after dinner. Something mindless, something safe. That's when I found it. A credit card bill addressed to him. New hotel charges. Not abroad, but 2 hours away. Repeated weekends. Same dates he said he was working overtime. The numbers didn't lie. They rarely do. At first I thought it was a clerical error. Maybe a client retreat, a booking mix-up. But then I saw the notes in the transaction details. Romantic package upgrade. The math was perfect. The story wasn't. He said he was saving for our honeymoon. Turns out he was paying for practice trips. Just not with me. He didn't just cheat on me. He used my budgeting templates to do it. We were sensible people. We didn't fall in love. We built it. We met at a mortgage seminar. Two newly single professionals comparing fixed-rate options like other people compared horoscopes. He admired my notes. I admired his certainty. It wasn't romantic. It was efficient. Matt wasn't exciting. He was safe. And safe, after years of disappointment, felt like luxury. Our relationship wasn't candlelight and surprises. It was spreadsheets, grocery lists, shared calendars. We had an Excel sheet for everything. Rent, savings, investments, even wedding projections. Love, to us, was something you could balance. He used to say, "The best kind of love is planned." And I believed him. Maybe because it sounded like me. We set goals early. House first, wedding second, honeymoon last. A sequence that looked responsible, admirable even. Our parents were proud. Our friends called us the couple with a plan. That's the problem with practical love. It looks flawless on paper, right until the numbers stop matching the story. I equated love with organization, trust with transparency. And when you're the responsible one, you don't suspect chaos. You assume control, because it's easier to balance a spreadsheet than to admit the person you love has already written you out of the formula. Our engagement party was small. Family, close friends, wine that wasn't expensive but tried to be. Matt gave a speech that made people tear up. "You make me better," he said, looking at me like I was a plan he'd finally learned how to follow. Everyone called us the steady ones. We didn't fight, didn't flake, didn't fall apart. The next day we opened a joint account. Practical, grown-up, symbolic, future us, now with direct debit. I handled the finances. My salary, his contributions, our savings. He added what he could, when he could. I never minded, I told myself. I believed in potential like it earned interest. Weekends followed a rhythm. He'd leave early for site visits, hard hat and coffee in hand. I'd stay home, updating spreadsheets, scrolling through interior design videos for our future house. Color palettes, lighting fixtures, kitchen layouts, the architecture of a life not yet lived. I thought we complemented each other. My order, his spontaneity, my structure, his spark. Together, we were balance, or at least the appearance of it. Looking back, there were hints, small inconsistencies that didn't demand attention, receipts without explanation, texts that arrived a little too late. His overtime always matched my quiet weekends alone, but I filed them under trust, the way you'd round down a number to make it fit the formula. I thought we were saving for joy. Turns out he was investing in escape. It started with a letter that wasn't mine to open, but I opened it anyway. One afternoon, I came home from work to find an envelope in our mailbox. Addressed to Matt Harris, our address slightly misspelled, one digit off, like a secret trying not to be found. The handwriting was feminine, looped, careful, the kind that belongs to someone who dots their I's with intention. I thought it might be wedding-related, a vendor, an invitation, something harmless. Inside was a loyalty statement. "Congratulations, Mr. Harris, on achieving preferred guest status." A hotel chain I'd never stayed in. At first, I was confused. Our shared credit card didn't match the account number printed on the form. Different card, different story. Out of habit, I called the number. Not out of suspicion, just reflex. I do this for clients all the time. Verify, confirm, clarify. I told the rep I was his assistant, asked about the account. She smiled through the line, cheerful and unaware. Oh yes, Mr. Harris has stayed with us 5 weekends in the past 6 months. 5. The same number of weekends he said he was working late on project bids. That's when my stomach shifted. Not dropped, just quietly recalculated the math. I checked the return address on the envelope. It wasn't from the hotel headquarters. It was redirected from our old apartment, meaning he'd used it recently. That's when I realized secrets don't just hide. They leave forwarding addresses. I didn't confront him that night, didn't even mention it. I just filed the letter away in my drawer between bank statements and warranties, where all things temporarily unresolved go to rest. I wanted to believe it was loyalty points. Turns out, it was just interest on betrayal. It happened a week later, the moment that turned suspicion into certainty. I was at work, buried in invoices, when my phone buzzed with a voicemail, a polite male voice, warm and professional. Hello, Ms. Harris. This is James from the Willowcrest Hotel. You left your scarf here last weekend. We can hold it at reception for pickup. I froze mid-keystroke. I'd never been to the Willowcrest. I don't even own a scarf. For a few seconds, I thought it was a scam, some marketing mix-up. But then I remembered the loyalty letter, the one I'd filed away, the name, the logo, the same hotel chain. I called back. My voice was calm, accountant neutral. Hi, this is Lydia Harris. I believe there's been a mistake. The man, James, sounded embarrassed, eager to fix it. Oh, my apologies, Ms. Harris. The stay was under your name and Mr. Harris's. You're always welcome back. I'll note the error. Always welcome back. Plural. You and Mr. Harris. The word slipped past like fine print, and then, before hanging up, he said it. The line that confirmed everything without meaning to. Sorry, I meant to say Ms. Turner. My mistake. Ms. Turner? Not a name I recognized, but I didn't need to. It fit too neatly in the space where denial used to live. I hung up, sat there for a long time, staring at my computer screen, the cursor blinking like a metronome keeping time with my heartbeat. Then I quietly deleted the voicemail. Not to hide it, but to stop replaying the proof. That evening, Matt came home later than usual. He kissed my forehead, dropped his bag, started talking about cost overruns on a new project. His usual mix of work jargon and weariness. I nodded, handed him dinner, listened to the same voice that now carried 2 truths, one for me, one for her. It's strange how the same voice can sound trustworthy and treacherous in the same sentence. After he fell asleep, I went to my drawer, pulled out the hotel loyalty letter, and printed the statement again. Highlighted the dates. Everyone that matched his overtime. The next morning, I pinned it under a magnet on the fridge. Said nothing. Watched it sit there. Bright yellow and undeniable. He didn't even notice for 3 days. When he finally did, he laughed, said, "Funny how mistakes happen." I smiled back, quiet and steady. He didn't realize I was done correcting his. That night, I didn't wait for the right moment. There's no right moment to prove someone wrong about love. I gathered everything. The loyalty letters, the statements, the receipts, spread them across our bed like case evidence. Each piece of paper, another line item in a balance sheet that would never reconcile. When Matt walked in, he froze in the doorway. Didn't speak, didn't move, just stared at the paperwork. The same way he used to look at blueprints before realizing something didn't fit. "You told me we couldn't afford a honeymoon yet," I said. My voice was calm, professional even. He muttered, "It's not what it looks like." "Then tell me what it looks like." He sat down on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. And then the tears came. Not the kind that ask for forgiveness, but the kind that negotiate for time. "It didn't mean anything," he said. "She was just company." I almost laughed. "You used our savings for lies. That's not company. That's embezzlement." He flinched, wiped his face. I'll fix this lid. I'll pay it back. You can't refund trust, I said. He left that night. Said he'd stay with a friend. I didn't ask who. Didn't want to turn the audit into an autopsy. The apartment felt cleaner after he was gone, like the air had finally stopped performing. 3 days later, a woman came to my office, mid-40s, composed, wearing a hotel uniform, introduced herself softly. I'm Mrs. Turner. My stomach turned at the name. She continued, voice trembling but steady. My daughter. She was the one your fiancé was seeing. She handed me an envelope. I thought you should have these. Inside, photographs. Matt and a young woman, her daughter, smiling in hotel lobbies, holding drinks, looking ordinary in the way only betrayal can. The same weekends, the same hotels. She quit last month, Mrs. Turner said. Moved back home, said he promised her a future. I nodded, unsure whether to apologize or scream. We both stared at the pictures. 2 women holding different ends of the same delusion. 7. Collapse. Realization and loss. The stranger's letter. 1,500 words. A month passed. Silence had started to sound like peace, until another letter arrived. It was addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Harris, postmarked from another city, same looping handwriting, same hotel crest in the corner. Inside was a sympathy card, cream paper, gold edges, typed, not handwritten. We were sorry to hear about Ms. Turner's passing. Please accept our condolences. I read the sentence once. Then again, 5 times in total, like repetition could force it to make sense. I set the card down, turned it over, checked for a mistake, an address error, a mix-up. But it was addressed perfectly. To us. I opened my laptop, typed her name into the search bar. A brief obituary appeared. Small town paper, 2 paragraphs, 1 photo, single vehicle crash, motorway, no mention of a fiancé, no mention of him. The woman he broke my trust with. Died before I learned how to forgive either of them. 2 days later, my phone rang, his name on the screen. For a long moment, I considered letting it ring out, but curiosity, or habit, won. His voice was trembling. I didn't know who else to call. Of course he didn't. I was always the fallback, the safe place he mistook for unconditional love. He said he wasn't sleeping, that he kept replaying things in his head. She was young, he said. I made mistakes. He wanted comfort, not consequence. I gave him silence instead. Over the next week, he started showing up again. Coffee in hand, apologies in his eyes, grief clinging to him like cologne he didn't know how to wash off. One evening, I let him inside. He sat on the couch, crying into his hands, muttering her name like a prayer he no longer believed in. I watched him, felt nothing, not pity, not rage, just an ache that had already calcified into distance. He thought grief was redemption. I knew it was just another way. To center himself. In someone else's tragedy, revenge isn't fury. It's accounting. I waited 3 months, long enough for him to believe silence meant surrender. Then I logged into our joint savings, the one labeled Future Us, transferred every remaining penny into a new account under my name, closed the old one, zeroed the balance. He texted that night, "Did something happen to our honeymoon fund?" I replied, "Yes, I happened." I mailed him a folder, color-coded, neatly tabbed. Inside, every receipt, every hotel statement, every photo. On the cover, 1 line written in pen, "Final audit. Assets recovered." He didn't reply. He wouldn't know how. I didn't need to humiliate him online or ruin his career. All I wanted was balance. A clean ledger where every lie had been reconciled. People think revenge is loud. Mine fit in a spreadsheet. He built his future on borrowed trust. I simply collected what was due, and when the account hit 0, so did I. Finally free, finally even.